Hello. Welcome back to episode 5. And before I begin, I just want to draw your attention to the name change. Up until now, I've been saying welcome to the Code AI podcast, but we've changed our name. The name is now the AI Code Central podcast, and that is what we are going to be sticking with moving forward. Like everything else we've ever done when we've worked together, we've changed. We've changed things as we've gone along, and most of the time it works for us. When we make a mistake or we find a way to do something more efficiently, more effectively, we are not afraid to change course, and that's the new name change. So we'll start this again. Welcome to episode 5 of the AI Central podcast with me, Kaz, and the other guy over there, Charlie.
So there's a bigger play happening here. One of the things we're going to focus on moving forward is when a builder, founder, entrepreneur, CEO, whomever gets out an AI app, how do they actually acquire customers? Outside of Reddit, outside of Product Hunt, outside of X, and how is their predictable customer acquisition happening? Their customer lifetime value, those important metrics. How is that happening? So with our background with marketing, there's going to be a lot of content now put into here on how to solve that problem. So there's a bigger play happening here.
So we're kind of going to be a one-stop shop in terms of AI, in terms of obviously learning about it as we go along. And we have a lot of guests. Actually, this episode, we have another guest. We'll talk about that in a minute. But learning about it as we go along, finding out what cool platforms and apps and things are out there, but also helping with marketing that and getting your product out there and how you make income based off of what you're able to create with AI. So kind of like a all-in-one type situation.
Yeah, like how do you actually make money from it? You put all this time building it. How can you, pay your bills? Like we all have bills to pay. So it's like this podcast will help you solve that problem.
All right. Well, we do have a guest. We'll talk about him in a minute. But in the meantime, let's catch up because it has been a week since we did a catch up. I'm just trying to think. We're in August now, which is bananas. School starts back on Monday for us here in this part of the world in Florida, which I feel like this summer was long and also was very short. I can't believe we're getting ready to go back to school.
Are you still in a heat dome? Is that what it is?
Yeah, I think it was. Well, it hasn't been as bad. I think it was like 104 today. So we're not under that the warning that we had. And actually, this weekend on Sunday, went out on the boat with some friends, and it wasn't. I think I remember telling you last weekend was awful. Like I ended up sick, and it was just unbearably hot. This weekend, obviously, it's Florida in the summer, so it's hot, but it wasn't like that. I mean, it's still hot, but it wasn't like super oppressively hot. Obviously, we kind of watched the temperature of the water, which was like 94, I think, because we are in hurricane season. And so the hotter that water is, the not so good it is if we do get a storm, because that's where the energy for the storm comes from. And we're in August now, so typically you'll expect to see more activity kind of building up August, September time for the hurricanes. So so we did that on Sunday and hung out with some friends, which is really nice because it's a friend that I don't get to see often, and it's almost like a surprise when I do get to see them. So there's that, and just hung out with our daughter for the day. Did some shopping. Went to the bookstore, which is dangerous for me. How many books do you think I bought?
7.
No, that would be about normal. Do you know how many I bought? 1.
Oh, really?
1 book. Yeah.
Why?
1. I wasn't feeling very well, and I was like overheating, and I couldn't figure out if I was overheating because I wasn't feeling that great or because the store was really hot. So I was like, I think I just want to get home. She specifically wanted a book. She's reading the Hannibal Lecter series right now. She's on book 3 of the 4. So she specifically wanted that book. So that's why we went. And then I ended up buying just 1 book. Normally I'm in a bookstore for hours and I've got a pile like day high. And
were all of those books made into movies? Was there 4 movies?
I don't know. She would be the person to ask. I don't know. I know there were 2, right? There was Red Dragon and then there was Silence of the Lamb.
I still remember. I mean, this came out. How long ago did Red Dragon come out? Is that the one where the guy's cooking his own brain?
His own brain?
Yeah.
I don't know. I remember Silence of the Lambs, but I don't know that I ever
think
saw
it's
Red Dragon.
Joaquin Phoenix, right? Wasn't he?
Then I haven't seen it. I like him though. He's a good actor.
Yeah, he's good. I totally did not see that coming, and then he like kind of glanced. There's like a hole in his head. I was like, "Whoa!" It's just like very jarring, you know. Like, okay, wow, they showed that. All right.
Yeah,
Um,
it's unpleasant.
yeah, cool movies though.
uh,
Good movies.
yeah, I like I mean, I like Silence of the Lambs. I thought it was great,
Yeah,
but I haven't read any of the books. So she's like pulling teeth to get her to read. It's really hard. But over summer, she had to read two books, and they were specific books. Like they couldn't be. One was Brandon Sanderson, which he's a very well known fantasy author, which I just fantasy's not my thing. And then she had to read a Steinbeck book. And I don't know if you've ever read
Steinbeck.
Steinbeck. Not a great, he's
Yeah.
great. Like East of Eden is an amazing book. I love East of Eden, but he's very descriptive, I would say.
Did he
But
do The Pearl?
yeah, that was what she had to read was the Pearl.
Oh, really?
Yeah, which luckily is only like 90 pages. It's not a long Steinbeck. If they'd have given her like this Brandon Sanderson one and like East of Eden, that would have been a lot.
Oh,
But she
wow.
read them. But if she finds something she likes, she will read. But outside of that, it's like pulling teeth to get her to read.
That
So,
was like one of the very few books I ever read in like I think middle school,
mhm,
maybe. I think, and
yeah,
I remember thinking this is not long. I'm
no,
still not
it's
going to
not.
do it.
It's not.
I did like I think I got through like half of it like one week, and then I waited like a month, and then the next week, and then I just forgot. I'm sure I just threw it away.
I can't remember if it was her or our son. I can't remember which one, but one of them, it might have been both of them. They had to read Hemingway, The Old Man and the Sea. And like of all Hemingway books, it is so dull. Like it's like I think two-thirds of it just describes the sea. Like it's just painful. I'm like, and I talk to like the principal because he's the reader, and him and I talk about books all the time. And I'm like, you had to give them this because it's allegorical, right? You didn't give it to them because it's a great novel. Like I understand Hemingway is thought of as a great novelist, but that's just not it. And he's like, yeah, there's a strong message in the book. And I'm like, I don't think these kids are grasping that concept because I struggled with that book, like hardcore. It's just,
I don't remember that. I don't. I'm
uh,
sure at some point I
yeah.
was assigned it. I just didn't. No, I'm just.
Didn't read it.
I
Anyway,
played
that
video games instead.
yeah. Well, she plays video games too, but she's now reading the rest of the Hannibal Lecter series on her own. Because the reason that she
Uh,
wanted to go to the bookstore was because when they go back to school, they have to read
hmm.
100 pages a week. It's like 20 pages a day, and she wanted to have her book ready to go. So when she went back to school, she had book number 3 in the
Yeah,
series. So that was what that was about. But anyway,
gotcha.
how was your weekend? Did you go
Uh,
out? Did you DoorDash? What did you do?
I did DoorDash some pizza.
Right.
Girlfriend was out of town. She's back home in Raleigh.
Hence
So
the door dashing.
hence the door dashing, yeah. And I had some points too, so use that. Yeah, this pizza is so good. It's like a Detroit style pizza. It's banging. It's so good. A little bit of obviously some work stuff here at the ACC, and then yeah, hopped on the bike. I'm gonna go up to Trestle tomorrow. Excuse
Oh,
me.
nice.
There's a big race in Winter Park at the end of the month. I think that leads into national qualifiers, which I do not do. My buddy James does. He's a lunatic for this is for downhill mountain biking. And still haven't hopped on the ice yet. I'm busy mountain biking. So I've decided, because hockey's so hard on your body, your hips and
Mm.
your knees. I play goalie for context. I'm not gonna play hockey in the summer anytime anymore. Pardon me. I'll just do mountain biking. Been biking more, and it's like, well, when you don't crash, it's lower impact on your body aside from when you go to the
When you
ER.
crash.
Yeah,
Um,
like I did 2 years ago.
how long is Trestle open for? Because it closes because the weather gets too bad, right? At some point.
Yeah, it's closed and then it turns into a ski resort.
Yeah, ski
So
resort.
it's
Yeah.
I want to say it's 3.5 months. So
Like
not
that whole season
the whole
at
season. Yeah.
Trestle. Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I've got to get more days in, and it's there is one big gap that I've been eyeing for some time that I haven't done this year. So I did it last year. I screwed it up. Luckily, I didn't crash. I somehow wrote out of it, but it's a pretty big one. It's on a double block. It's pretty big gap. So anyway, I'll buzz up there soon. And what else do we have? I don't know. It's in beginning of August now as we record this. I mean, lots going on. Who's our guest, by the way?
Okay, let's talk about our guest. I was going to ask you another question about Trestle. I forgot what it was. Oh, I was going to ask you, when am I going to get to see GoPro video? Because you have GoPro.
Oh yeah,
now.
yeah. Maybe tomorrow. Maybe I'll take it with me. And yeah, the problem with GoPro is it's not, there is the GoPro effect where like there's 10, 15-foot gaps and drops on there that I do, and they don't look, it doesn't scale through a screen. It's so bad. And you're going so fast on trail, you're going 30, 35 miles an hour on a double black trail, and it's not the same. But I'll take it up with me tomorrow and I'll share it.
I think it'd be pretty cool because I've seen like a few pictures of you, and I think you sent me a video one time that somebody else had taken of you, like a couple of years ago, maybe, that I had seen.
Perhaps. Okay, yeah.
But I haven't seen you like, whatever it is you. The choo-choo. I haven't seen you choo-choo yet, so everyone's seen choo-choo. Anyway, so let's talk about our guest. Our guest, actually, it was really exciting because he's our first international guest that we've ever had on. His name is Edward Chechique. I think I'm saying that correctly. I did ask him before we started recording, and he kind of laughed and said, "Oh, it's kind of hard." But anyway, Edward Chechique, he's a designer. He lives in Madrid, Spain, and he utilizes a lot of AI in his design. And he also has a YouTube channel that you guys can check out where he's like super helpful and giving like very helpful tips and teaching you how to use products. It was really cool. I'm not going to lie. It was really nice to have a fellow European on the podcast. And I thought he was really insightful.
Interesting guy too. Easy to talk to. Great insight in regards to design and AI tools he uses, his process, workflow. I thought it was a great interview.
Yeah, I think it's super good. So you guys should definitely check it out. And then next week, we have another guest for you. We're just like boom, boom, boom with these guests, man. We're just like hitting them out of the ballpark. I'm not going to give away the next guest, but I am going to say you definitely have to listen. I think his story is fascinating. He's a really nice guy. So yeah, I definitely think next week's guest is going to be, all of our guests are great. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to lie, but Edward's great. Very, very interesting. He talks a lot about why he used to work for a company and then he kind of stepped out by himself and basically just does everything for himself these days, and why the decision behind that. But it's a good listen. And like I said, it was nice to have our very first international guest on. Hopefully there'll be more.
There'll be more.
Yeah, hope so. Because obviously AI is like, the whole world is jumping on the bandwagon now.
The fastest growing company in tech, I think the world actually, is in Sweden, Lovable. Ooh. So yeah, what is the story with that? 8 months old and they're valued at 1.8 billion.
That's how much?
1.8 billion.
Billion with a B.
Yeah, with a B.
In less than a year.
In 8 months. Might be 9 months now because we're in August. Yeah, pretty wild. Faster than Uber, faster than Slack, faster. Yeah, pretty wild.
That is bonkers.
Banana Lands, great product. That's
too. Crazy. What's their product?
Lovable. We use Bolt. Maybe when in the episode where you vibe code your second app, we'll use Lovable.
Ooh, I liked vibe coding. That was fun.
Vibe coding, yeah.
And that was like my legit reaction too, by the way. I'm not an actress. Yeah. I don't have a poker face. I can't lie for shit. So the reaction that you got when we saw the results was legitimately my reaction. So yeah, I'm down. We can vibe code something else.
Maybe a calendar. I don't know, something that would align with the podcast. I'm thinking. I mean, maybe like a content calendar or something. I don't know. We'll take a better approach to it though. Just from talking to guests and knowing what we know now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, as with anything you do in life, you improve the more that you do it, right? So things get easier, or you get more used to it, or your knowledge base gets bigger. You learn a lot from doing it, mistakes or not mistakes. But I like doing it because, like we've said since the beginning of the podcast, I don't really know that much. I'm not very familiar with it, and I'm not a very techie person. I know enough to get by, but I get scared when I see code is in the name of anything. And do you remember when we very first started working together, like in this realm of life, not the previous life, and you would bring up like websites, and then I don't know what the word is, but that box that comes up on the right-hand side with all the codes in it, all the code written
in the browser.
Yeah, and then you could change it.
Yeah, inspect.
Yeah, that terrified me. So that just gives you an idea of like how limited my knowledge is with anything. Or if like Charlie's like, yeah, I need you to go into the back end of this website and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, ooh.
It's good to
You
learn.
could do
I mean,
some
yeah,
damage.
the first time I mess with code on a live website, I was like, what the hell am I doing? And the first time I ever use a terminal, it was just like, oh man, I think I just broke something. If you're scared of websites, you'll be terrified of a terminal.
Yeah, I don't. If I can break the internet, I don't want anything to do with it.
Terminal is
But
that black box with like the white
yeah,
text. It's the very,
no.
I don't know if you've seen that before.
I don't want to see it, be honest with you. No, thank you. But okay, anyway, everybody, I hope you really enjoyed this episode. We'll be back next week with another episode with another guest. I love having guests on. I love learning from them. Hopefully you'll love this episode as much as we enjoyed making it. And in the meantime, stay safe, and we'll be back next week with episode number 6.
Peace.
Hello, welcome back to episode 5 of the Code AI podcast. We did tell you last week that we had a special guest on this week, and we do. And this is our very first international guest. So I'm very excited about this because I have a fellow European on for the first time. His name is Edward Chechique, currently living in Malaga, Spain. He has over 10 years experience in product design. He's currently working as a freelancer, designing apps, creating content about AI and design, building applications. And additionally, he is a content creator on YouTube with almost 5,000 subscribers and over 100 videos. So, Edward, thank you so much for joining us. We are very, very happy to have you here today.
Thank you very much for inviting me. I'm very happy to be here talking with you.
Okay, so real quick, I just want to say it is very nice having a fellow European on the podcast. It's up until now, Charlie and I have done quite a few podcasts together. And up until now, obviously, we are primarily based in the Americas. So we do have obviously a large American base. But Charlie did tell me today that we currently have listeners in 10 different countries. Is that correct?
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're moving around a bit. So I'm very excited about that. So let's do a little bit of a dig into your background before we really get going. How did you get into product design? Did you start your life out as a designer, or was there a different wet pathway to product design?
Basically, I started by studying something like graphic design in general, and then I moved to work as a UX designer because when I was in school, I asked my professor, hey, there is something called UX design. And it was, more than 10 years ago. It was not so developed like now. He said to me, yes, there is something like that. It's something about software. I said, okay. And because in the tech, there is money, I said it direct to the point. I said, okay, I need to enter there because for financial stuff, and start to study by myself. I work in different companies in the beginning, a lot of failures. And basically I studied by myself to be a UX designer. Not good comes or not, only for try and fail. I think after 4 years working, I start to feel that I'm on the place. A lot of errors in the process, but that's how I now product design. Product design, UX design may be the same thing, but another marketing term. But that's more the way. I studied by myself, basically, the UX design stuff.
You've led teams before throughout your career in designing. Did you find that transition from starting yourself and just doing it yourself? Did you find it was an easy transition to leading a team? Because obviously, like creativity and art and design is quite subjective. So when you're by yourself, you could see clearly your vision. But when you have like a team around you, you kind of have to be able to explain the vision and what you're trying to create.
Yes, I will say something that may be funny, but one thing is to be a designer that make hands-on. Another thing is to be a manager. I didn't have a big team, only a small team. But the thing is that the big shift is that from UX design or from designer, I moved to be a psychologist because basically when you have because when you have a team, you need to manage people. You don't manage pixels on the screen. Yeah. And they have fears, and then you need to talk with skateboarders. Sometimes they came without a lot of experience. You need to give them the atmosphere that they can do something that didn't was before. And I jump in. I read some books and but once you're there, okay, I need to be a psychologist because they have problem at home. That's a fact. They have problem there. Things that related to work. And I find myself, I did also hands-on always, but it's another type of work that take much more energy than design. And that's what I want to say. If somebody here and want to enter to managing people, it's psychologist of design or something like that. Not
So
another thing.
It's less design and more, like you said, therapist and psychologist. So less hands-on on the design level and more really
HR.
what you would. Yeah.
Yes. I will say it's more this than the actual work.
Yeah.
You need leader needs to lead the people to go to a place they wasn't before, something like that. I mean, so that's the work. It's not design.
Right. That makes sense.
So, Edward, what got you into AI, and what was the first thing that you like dabbled with AI?
Okay, this is interesting because basically I wanted to start to promote myself because of the market is very competitive now. I mean, make personal branding, or let's put it simple, promote my works to be able to find another job, something like that. So I wanted to write in Medium, and I'm not a native English speaker, and writing it's much difficult than speak. So I didn't have no ability, but also confidence to write in English. And I started to find a way to do it. And basically, it was 5 years ago, and I started to work with AI tools that helped me to write better. And basically, without this AI tool, I was not able to make my Medium blog that has more 150 articles now. I'm not right anymore, but I was not able to do it. And that's the best say, okay, there is something here that can help me. Okay, it's only language, it's simple, but hey, without that, I was not able to write one article. I was not able to do it.
Yeah.
I said, okay, here's something interesting. And then in these 5 years before ChatGPT come to life, I mean, OpenAI has models like Da Vinci and very old models. They were very stupid, I must say, but they make their job. I mean, they could not write a joke, but they could fix the grammar. So then I started to work with that. And when ChatGPT come to life, I remember the moment my wife said to me, Edward, there is a new thing called ChatGPT. So what is that? And I understand that they took the model and add an interface, chat interface. And I started to say, okay, now it's much easier, because before it was a lot of software that I used the API, and it was it was not so, I mean, the chat is not comfortable today, but before it was worse. So, and then I started to work with this tool. I must say that, just for joke, I remember when ChatGPT came, it was so easy to use it that I write I respond to one as a comment in Reddit for one post about AI and said, no, AI it's the future and blah, blah, blah. And one person that started to write a lot that said to me, Reddit, it's a very toxic place if somebody doesn't know it.
Yes.
So talk with me in a way that I don't have a lot of tolerance for people in that way. So I thought, okay, he did that. I have ChatGPT now. I write it. I respond him very long. And I saw that I respond him. He didn't know that he talked basically with the machine. What I did, I copied the message. I paste and respond him and make it very engaged. So he will want to respond much further. Right. And I think we discussed 5 or 6 ways in that way. I think I took from him life 5 hours at least to read and write. But I didn't write nothing. I just copied to the ChatGPT. So I mean, you can see another moment that I saw. Oh, that machines work well. So and then from there we are much more advanced now. And then write code, create software. That's what I do today. So that's more or less about AI and me.
Our background is in SEO. We've known it for, pre-COVID, well before that. And so, content creation is a big thing, right? Like read landing page, content silo, a blog post, all that. And I vividly remember I found out about ChatGPT on YouTube, because that's where I learned to code. I pulled up and I just, hey, make me a blog post about, I like mountain biking. They make me a blog post about mountain biking, and it spit it out, and my brain exploded. I couldn't even grasp what did I just to Kaz? I was like, you need to see this, because this is nuts, and make sure you're sitting down too. Wild stuff.
Yes, the magic moment.
We started almost like a spin-off agency where we niched down with only one type of customer, and we started the podcast. So this is about 2.5 years ago. And I asked ChatGPT for 10 ideas for the podcast name, and actually Kaz had the same exact idea for a podcast that we ended up using as ChatGPT. I thought that's again when my brain exploded, but that was pretty cool stuff. And I don't know do you remember that, Kaz?
Yeah, so we do talk about this in every episode, but I also think it's important because I think we have listeners who are quite well versed in AI and using it for different things. And then there's people like me who listen who don't really know much about AI. So I'm learning along with those type of listeners that we have. But I remember when you said about your wife telling you about ChatGPT and your reaction, I think that was identically my reaction was, what is ChatGPT? What are you talking about? I was like, I don't want anything to do with this, but I do remember we the whole conversation, we had the conversation and he had messaged me and asked me, could I come up with names for this podcast, the other podcast that we have? And I came up with it, and quite quickly, actually. And then, I remember he put it through ChatGPT, and I thought he was like joking with me about the fact that it had come up with the same name. And do you remember when ChatGPT first came out? The knowledge base only went to a certain date. It went maybe 3 years. And that was the most recent information that it would ever give you, was up to 3 years ago. And now I look at it and I'm still very much of the mindset of I think it's great, but I don't know much about it and I don't know where we're going with it in the future. But just to see how much it's evolved in just that short time span. So I imagine from your perspective of when you first heard about ChatGPT to you being able to use it now with your design work, I bet the changes you've seen have been quite dramatic in the time period that you've had it.
Yes, I mean, we started with text, as we talk now, blog post, but I understood that in one moment we will able to make a design with that. First of all, I use VS Code to make some applications. I was not able to do it before AI, but before now we have a lot of models that make code, and that stuff also in the past. It's very, I mean, it's funny to say the past, 2 years ago,
right?
But I not remember there was a product that did exactly that. It was a plugin inside VS Code that I was able to use to write applications. And I did one application for Figma plugin, only with AI. I know nothing about programming.
Mm-hmm.
And that was 2 years ago. Okay, it was difficult to work in that mode. I must say it's not because the model was not so powerful than now. But okay, I talk also, my wife a little bit helped me. She know a little bit about code, but okay, we did it. And the next step now it's that basically AI create designs. I mean,
right.
And it's funny to say how it's create design, because what it does, it create a code and then render it inside the application. So if we use, for example, UX Pilot, Figma Make, Lovable, basically we not create screens like in Figma. We create actual design in HTML, CSS, or a front end, let's say. And that is the shift. That basically we moved from create screen in Figma for the actual HTML. But I must say that I believe it will go one step. I mean, because AI create code, it's native to do it in that way. But for me as a designer, I prefer to have one step before to create screen inside Figma with AI. I believe this will be the next step. They will take it one step back. So at the end, everything is code, but it's create code, but something that I can work in Figma. And that's, I think, the next step that I see today, basically.
Yeah, I was literally going to ask about coding and design because I know nothing about code, and Charlie basically taught himself how to code. But do you think that designers now need to learn to code, or do you think that any need for that's kind of gone now because AI, the tools that you've got at your disposal now with AI have kind of eliminated the need for that, because you can just say, hey, I want this, and it produces what you're asking it for?
I think for now, I don't know what will be in the future. I cannot create an application with high volume of users with AI, just with AI. It's necessary to have knowledge on coding because the model is short. I mean, they cannot do anything. But for example, I create for myself software Chrome extension that helps me to work for scrapping information and fill forms. And also the fill forms, for example, I publish it in Google Chrome Store that every person can use it. Okay, it's working in small scale, but not in large scale, because actually you need the expertise to say this good and that's not good. And this day I still not have it. I not know what will be in the future. Now it's not have it. You must have the human that take care to see that everything works well. I mean, I always said when it will work, when you're not afraid to give it your credit card and say to it, buy me ABC. That's when we'll say, okay, if a person has the confidence to pay with something this high level, still it's not there, but it will be there. I mean, I don't know. I not know it will in the future, but I believe it will be there. I mean, it's clear to me because I saw the process 5 years ago and now, and it's another level. I mean, just about writing blog, you talk about ChatGPT write blog. Before that, it was one product called Outranking that I used. They use models of LLM models.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember it's write blog with SEO. It was very generic one, not specific one. Okay. But I saw it as, oh, wow, that's amazing. I mean, so and now it's much better. So I believe, yes, we will be in that moment that the machine will take more over. I still think that the human needs to be hands-on on the stuff to, first of all, explain what we want to achieve, what I want. And after that, to make the fine-tuning. Fine-tuning, it will take time to be, I mean, in high level. You can see it like autonomous drivers, for example. Still, we drive cars, although that in San Francisco, there's some cars that can work without a human. But this 0.1%, this is the very different between, this is the border. Once we pass it, will be another level, but it will take time. I don't think it will be tomorrow, maybe 5 years. Something like that. That's what I think. I don't know. That's what I think.
So speaking of all that, in regards to prototyping with AI, what is your process from A to Z, front to back?
I can tell you something interesting. In the past, I use Figma directly, sometimes Sketch, but I had a task to do, some with a PRD, user story requirements in simple words. And I start to sketch by hand, or if I have design system on my Figma file. If people don't know what is a design system, it's like Lego component. It's something that I build the screen, something like that. Yes, you can think about it, one button, one drop down. I have a list of components that I can use that they are exactly designed for my system. This is design system in simple words. So if I have design system, I just go to Figma. If not, I sketch by hand. And lately, what I did in the last time, I need to do something. If I start to sketch, I just sketch it on the paper, pass it to, or UX Pilot or sometimes Figma Make, say, okay, this is my sketch, this is my design system, create the screen. And because it's understand the shape of a button, they understand that they need to take button from the design system and create the screen 100%. Now, the good thing, it's not always 100%, but sometimes I need to make changes with the chat. Sometimes I move to Figma. But the thing is that it's take all the manual process of adding components, almost 80% now it's done by AI. And it's huge difference because before I needed to move one component, but now not. Or for example, another things about prototyping, for example, I need to locate a button in place on the screen. So in the past, I start to move one. Now I don't do it. I go to Figma Make. Okay, I need to add this button. I don't like the position because ABC, give me 8 another places to add this button. And it's great for me, 8 different options. Sometimes I like, sometimes not, but you can think about it like you need to buy a dishwasher and you go to the store and there is 10 options, you select one. So it's the same process. I need button in different places, give me 10 options, I select one and continue. You see, I not need to do all the work now. I play ping pong with the machine always. I need that, give me that, something like that. This more is the process.
If we were, let's say later, like tomorrow, I was going to design an app, a mobile app. I'm completely new to it. I know what Figma is. I think I've messed around with Adobe. What's Adobe's app that they have where you can mess around with it?
They had app, it's called XD, but I don't think it exists anymore.
Oh, geez. Okay. Well,
maybe yes, but I know. I don't think. I think yes, but I don't know if many people use it nowadays.
Okay. So if I was going to design an app, what are 3 things you could share that would just make my life easier? And just say, use this, don't do that, do that.
You mean in the process of designing today?
Yeah.
With AI? First of all, requirements are super important today. Not because, it's always important, but also because if you write the requirements, you understand what you want to do and you can explain to the machine what to do. If not, nothing. A part of that, writing prompt, that it's very important. And I will say another thing that may be funny. Not accept everything that the AI give you. the critique the work that you get from the AI. I mean, it's one of the most important skills today, because if I not critique what the machine does, I cannot explain to another person. And the part of that, why I design, the company don't need me. Because if I just take a requirement, send to the machine, and then take it and move it to the next step, the company don't need me. Yeah, they don't. Yeah. So that's the three things. I mean, to understand what you want to do, writing prompts, and the big critique about the process, about the result.
I think that's actually really valuable information about not just accepting what it's giving you, because it's only going to give you something that's as good as the prompts that you're using, right? So oftentimes you'll see people talk about, oh, ChatGPT said this or said this, like, and you know it's not accurate, or you know it doesn't make sense. And it could be the way that they've put a prompt in. Specifically, it could be if they were looking for something, an informational thing, and they've put in biased prompt or something like that. You can't always accept that everything it's going to come back to you with is going to be perfect or great. So actually critiquing the results, I think, is like really valuable information. You can't just assume that because it's, AI, that it's going to get it right, or get it right the first time. Maybe it doesn't happen. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's really valuable.
By the way, I will ask you, you write content, I believe. At the end, in writing, you can critique maybe easier than screens, because it's focused on text. So it's easy to see where the machines say something that is not true, or they explain something not in the best way. Okay.
Yeah, we do that. Like I read through everything. So if there's been a piece of content that has gotten created, obviously I have like a prompt with parameters in it that needs to be matched. And sometimes, I will be honest, if whether you're using ChatGPT or Claude or Manus, they don't always follow the prompt, and you have to go back in. So for example, you could give it a word count, and then it gives you a piece of information that's gone massively over the word count or something like that. So you really do, even with the prompts, you have to check. But I always read over everything, because I'll go in and edit. I don't want it to sound like it was written by AI. And even if you tell it to make it a specific way to speak, it doesn't get it right all the time. And then if I'm looking for specific keywords, I will ask it when it's done, how many times did you use each keyword? Highlight it. Let me look at it. Let me read it. So I never personally, if I'm creating any type of content, just go, oh, it's okay, it's done. Just like when you're designing something, you've got to make sure that it's fitting the scope of what you're asking for.
Yes, exactly. In that term, for example, there are some models that are very good on do exactly what you ask them. For example, ChatGPT 4.1, you ask something, it responds very close to your requirements. For example, this one thing. Other ones are good in writing. So in my case, sometimes what it's good to do, it's to make a, let's say, flow that we start to ask ChatGPT 4.1 for something, and then move it to Claude Sonnet because they write better, and then pass it to another prompt that said, okay, now you are my copywriter, give it feedback, and then based on the feedback, improve. So make one process that pass through many different prompts. That's fine. I heard also sometimes what people does, they add also code inside. For example, you say that the characters, for example, you write a post, you say no more than 500 words. So some people, what they do, after they get the first response, they have, let's say, Python software. It's not a software with interface, something inside that count how much characters this post has. If it's less than 500, continue to the next step. If not, back it to the other step and ask it to improve. So not only prompt, also more software that make to analyze the process.
Yeah, I remember when we first used ChatGPT, I can't remember what version of it was, but it was quite a long time ago. And I think I remember the jump to 3.0, and it was quite a good, like the evolution from the previous version to this version. It was very clear that you could see how much better it had gotten. So I imagine over time, it's all it's ever going to do is get better and better and better. But I do like that idea of the workflow that you said, where you identify which ones are good at what, and then you kind of push your content through each one for the things that it's best at. So whether it's fact finding, whether it's actually writing, whether it's copy editing, like instead of just relying on like one specific product, whether it's ChatGPT or Claude, you're actually like working it through to get the best out of each one.
Yes, exactly. And now the questions: are you writer or you build writer? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If at the end we build these machines, that's what happened to me. I mean, I believe that in 5 years, maybe less, maybe more, designer will not design anymore. There is team that dedicated to build machines that design for the company based on some guidelines. And they will do it with these processes. That's what I think will happen.
I think so, but I think that there has to be, like you said before, there has to be human touch in there, because I think a lot of design can be done with AI, but I also think at some point the art scope of that has to come in, right? So that's not, again, art is subjective, understood, but I think that you have to have a human element when it comes to that. I don't think you could just, like you said, push a button and it's all going to be done. I still think you will always have to have a human touch on anything like that.
Yes, the human will be, but it will be in a moment in the process that the work will be, it's good or not. And if it's not, I mean, a human needs to take a look.
Yeah.
But at the end, it will happen that the machine will be so good that maybe we'll just approve and go to the next step. So I believe it's happened today. You can think about like newsletters that are not so famous. I mean, it's something like a video newsletter or something like that. I believe that they do it in that way, that they pass everything for AI, and sometimes nobody maybe take a look if it's a small content and they upload it. You can see it sometimes in websites that they add the text that you see that it's nobody take care of the text.
Yeah.
And so, yes, I think human must be to have quality, but it will be less and less, especially for places that it's not so important. Human review, the human review the information, and there is places that it's not so important. It can happen.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see how it evolves over time, I think. I'm going to change the subject very slightly. I was looking over your background a little bit, and we mentioned it at the top of the podcast, but you have a YouTube channel, which has somewhere close to, I think it was like 4,800 subscribers at this point. You're very active in the Figma community. So obviously you enjoy sharing your resources with other designers. Why is that? What makes you like to do that and share your knowledge with other people? Is there something that drives that, or is it just because nobody else was doing it and you saw that gap there?
No, it's much more simple. I mean, because I need to pay the bills.
Okay, that's fair enough.
Because now there are people that want to show themselves on the internet. I'm not very comfortable. I mean, what comfortable? I need to do it because it's necessary today.
Right.
I mean, I think that person not show the work, it's the risk that in the future they will not be on the loop anymore. I mean, if you have a company, this one thing you need to do it because you make marketing. That's must. But as an employee, I mean, I will say something that it's very, hard to hear, but when you close to 40 years old, your probability to find a job easy, it's decreasing, I don't know how much percent. There's some facts about that. It's because you want more money. Sometimes the managers not want to take somebody that is older than them.
Yeah. And
you are in the risk. And I think one of the things that to go above it is to have a YouTube channel. So maybe you will not work as a full employee company, but you can make content for companies. You can make freelance work. You can something like that. So I started it to pay the bills, to promote myself. And actually it's worth it because I was in situation of layoff and I was able to maintain myself because people knows me. That's the thing. So this is my advice for people that close to 40 years old. They be careful because I don't know how it is in the US, but in Europe it's not about that. When you're close to 40, it's much difficult to find a job. That's my point of view.
I do think it's solid advice in any industry that you're in, almost any industry that you're in, that you should try and have multiple income streams. And I myself being over 40, I fully understand what you're saying, because if you have to be realistic and understanding that, if for some reason your position is eliminated, they're going to try and find a 20-something-year-old person, cheaper for one, they're going to be cheaper. They don't necessarily have the same income expectations that you would have in your 40s and your 50s. So I definitely do think in diversifying your income stream is solid advice for sure. And also, I think, like you said, if you're in technology, whatever realm of technology that is, I think it's even more important.
If that younger person's more proficient in AI, I don't think AI. Well, I think AI will replace. It has replaced jobs, but I think it will be replaced with people more proficient in AI.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because that's what they're going to look for.
You can think about it about content. Okay, I mean, when I grew Facebook, I was 20 years old when Facebook came to life.
Yeah.
And it was very to find friends and blah, 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 people that I didn't saw 5 years, something like that. But then it started to be very professional to make a content manager, blah, blah, blah. And I can see that the younger people that are younger than me, they're much better to do this stuff because they born with the camera on the hand. They know how to be in front of camera. This is something that it was not exist before. And that's also I think, I mean, okay, we go older, but the people that are younger, that come with abilities that we didn't develop yet. And now, if person with 20 years old say, "Oh, they are very old people," 20 years, it's moved very fast. I mean, suddenly you find yourself in this position. So yes, and it will happen with AI again. People
for sure.
The same. So this is important. If we back to AI, yes, because of that, it's important to study AI nowadays and to put the hands on that.
Yeah. In regards to your YouTube channel, Edward, what videos have the best response that you found?
It's like gambling, more or less. I don't have any. Yes, I don't have any technique to do it, but I can say that Figma works well because they are very famous, so people search about it. There's a lot of volume. Sometimes when there are new features that came and many people interested, this is another thing. Sometimes when I made a video and another person find it interesting and share it, and this person has a lot of followers. But if you are not a person with a lot of followers, or you are very talented, talk with camera or making these videos, something that notable, or you have a team that help you, it's many times like gambling, more or less. I don't know what will be well, but there is some tips that I can give here and there. Talk about the news, things that are happening now. Things that happen, people have a lot of interest, like Figma. And this is the technique for people that are not expert, let's say, in creating content. I mean, there are some people that are expert in creating content. You can see it. I mean, the intros look good, the B-roll looks good, the music is, so that's engaged. But this is one thing. But the most important is to talk about things that happens now and interest people. This is what I see the most important today in social media and also in YouTube. I saw it in many videos that I shared.
Yeah. And I think that's particularly relevant when we're talking about AI, that we need to make sure that whatever information is in the YouTube videos is as current as possible, because next week it could change. So if you're talking about things that are like 3 months old, by the time that video goes live, we're already onto something else. So keeping it as, up to date as possible, the information that you're giving. Yeah, super. And also understanding that the people who are viewing your videos are going to be of different levels of AI knowledge. Like literally me and Charlie he's here and I'm somewhere here, but I've watched your videos and been able to understand what you're saying, and so is he. So you kind of have to hit the sweet spot of being able to appeal to kind of everybody, which isn't necessarily easy, but I think it's important to try.
Yes, and we talk about that. Another thing, for example, we talk about things that happen now that I know that there is more probability that people get views. For example, I develop with vibe coding. I mean, vibe coding, if somebody doesn't know, it's like say to the machine that I want to build something and write the code for me, something like that, to put it simple. So Chrome extension, that basically what it does, it's helping to search in X or Twitter some terms that has a lot of, interest in this last week, last month, last 3 months, based on reactions. So I built very simple tool that I write, okay, I want to see what people said about Figma in the last week. Each post that you show must be 500 likes and 90 reshare. So I know this is a hot topic. And I run it in the morning. It's one moment I see the feed. And if something interesting, I take it for LinkedIn or make a video about it. And then I can assume there is some interest about that.
Yeah.
sometimes not work because some content is related only to X. You can see some trend that work only on X, but if you move to another platform, it's not work. So, I mean, with some experience, I start to understand what happens when you work in one platform, another platform, but many times it's cross platforms.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. Yes. And apart of that, I must say that it's helped me also to skip one thing that I don't like in social media today, that it's a lot of content that I don't want to see. It doesn't matter how I will say that I don't want to see only people that I follow, but at the end, it shows me content that I'm not interested. So in that way of what I did, I see everything that I'm interested. I just enter, paste the query, see the content, and move out because I'm not interested in other things in many social media.
Yeah, and even if you tell it you're not interested, social media does not do a good job of filtering out those things at all. It loves to just throw everything at you, and whereas, what you've built for yourself just eliminates that.
Yes, my feeling in daily changed many times because of social media, because there's some content that make me feel bad or something like that. So that's why also helped me to get rid of the noise that just helped me. So I did it for fine content, but I find it's very useful for other things.
And it's very distracting as well. You can find yourself just getting so distracted by it all. And before you know it, you've wasted an hour of your time. But being able to, build that extension that really kind of just keeps it to what you want, you're not going to waste time. You're getting the knowledge that you need to be able to produce your videos.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And I really encourage people that has an idea that can help them to create a small tools with vibe coding. I mean, it's very easy today to do it. So you create a tool, and then it's help you to save 15 minutes a day, 1 hour per day, something like that. And so you invest 8 hours to build the tool, and that's all. And it's possible today. So that's a good thing to do with AI.
All right, we are going into our last section of the podcast, which is where we ask you some rapid fire questions. None of them are hard, I promise. They're all easy. So I'm going to start and ask you the first one, which is, what is your favorite AI design tool right now?
I think each of them do another things better. I think UX Pilot did good job today. I must say that also I work with them. I make affiliation for them, so just put it on the content. But yes, they make a good job in creating screen and not the last code. That's one of them. Lovable works well. Figma works well to vibe coding for designers, something small, simple. And also ChatGPT, I think that this is the best AI tool that I use today. Although it's very general, I think this is the best one.
Oh, that surprised me. I'm not gonna lie. Okay, next. What is a design trend you've been seeing that you're excited about?
It's not a trend, but I think it's a great trend. It's not use interface anymore. We have Alexa. This is something that I'm very interesting to see, that I don't want to make a clicks to find my next vacation. I just want to talk to machine, and it will say to me, okay, you can go to this direction. What you mean? Not to see interface, just to talk with a machine like a human. This is something that I really want to see in the future. We can start to see it with Alexa, but it's not developed yet enough.
Yeah. Okay, so when you're designing, when you're like in the zone of your designing, what's your drink of choice? Tea, coffee, water?
Coffee,
right?
Yes. I finish with 6-7 cups a day.
Oh,
yeah.
Yes, believe me. And I also buy. There is a lot of trend is not trend. It's something about coffee that it's trend that it's called specialty coffee. That there is a lot of culture now that they to bring from all over the world. So that's some. I mean, and I like it. I like it. Taste from all over the world. So coffee.
I go between coffee and tea. Obviously, being English, we have to get our tea in. So, I go between coffee and tea mostly. Charlie, you're a coffee guy, aren't you? Mostly.
I go coffee. I go decaf, Americano, and I'll just slam them.
Decaf? What's the point of that?
Yeah. Well, I have sleep issues, like pretty bad. Probably from snack, actually. So I just go decaf.
When you pass the 6 or 7 cup per day, we don't have any sleep issue after. But believe me, I can drink before going to sleep.
Me too. I can drink caffeine before I go to bed. It doesn't. I don't know.
That's
it's wild. I wonder as I get older if that will change, but right now it doesn't really bother me. So, all right, next question. What is one piece of advice you would give to new designers?
I will say to calibrate their eye. I will put it simple, to see a lot of good design. So when you see something that not looks good, you understand it's not good.
Yes.
Something like that.
Yeah. I can put that into, I've done a lot of like writing, creation, editing over my time. And so when I'm looking, and I'm also, I read a lot. So if there's like a grammar mistake, punctuation, spelling, it almost jumps out of the page.
Exactly. I mean, to train the eye to differentiate between the good and the bad, something like that.
Yeah. Okay. If you were not a designer, what would you be doing?
I don't know. An employee, maybe. No, I don't know. I didn't thought about it before. I mean, it was always designer or something between design or something like that. I always designing. Can be content, can be application, but always designing. Maybe be a chef, but
a chef.
Maybe, but I don't know if I have the energy to work at night and that stuff.
Yeah.
But yes, designer maybe.
Yeah. I couldn't be a chef. I think for the same reason. It's a really long night of working and you don't get home till late, and then no. And I can't cook that well. I mean, I could cook, but not that well.
No, I work as a bartender. I like the atmosphere. If people that work in restaurant, it's a good vibe most of the time. But there is not stress. But yes. But at the end, working at night, no, I don't think about it.
Yeah, I did that in my 20s, and I'm not trying that now. No. Too old now. All right. Well, I think we're going to wrap up from here. When this episode goes live, we'll obviously add all of your content information. So we have your website, we have your YouTube, your LinkedIn, Medium. So obviously we'll link all of those, and we'll make sure we send people your way. I definitely highly recommend checking out your YouTube to our listeners and viewers, because I watched a couple of videos, and for me, who doesn't really know anything, I found them super helpful. But I would like to wrap up and say thank you so much. It's been so nice to have you with us all the way from Spain. I was so excited when I heard you were coming on. So I just want to say thank you so much for your time, and we really appreciate having you on.
Thank you very much for your time also. It was very pleasant to talk with you. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Cool. Thanks, man.
Thanks.